Hey, little Foxy. Rico's still recuperating, so tonight in our Animal Investigations Unit, we're talking about America's dogs in crisis. Dogs just like little Foxy here, my great rescue. There are about 65,000 dogs in experimental laboratories in America right now as we speak. An astonishing 96% of them are beagles. Beagles are bred to be sold to labs because of their calm and trusting personalities. These dogs are experimented on, which often means they're tortured, essentially. Their brains cut open, electrodes put inside, toxins forced into their little bodies, and they face countless other atrocities. But one group, the Beagle Freedom Rescue Project, is fighting back. Beagle Freedom Rescue Project is basically rescuing hundreds of dogs, more than 150 dogs, including 6 big dogs from a lab in the American West. These 6 beautiful animals, look at them. They were pets at one time. Yeah, that's right. They were beloved family pets who, for one reason or other, ended up in animal shelters, and then they were victims of something called pound seizure. That's when laboratories are allowed to go in and take dogs from shelters to use to work on. This practice is illegal in just 18 states. It is still legal in 32 states, most of the states in this country. Straight out to one of my heroes, Shannon Keith, president of Beagle Freedom Project. Remember that name. You can go to our Facebook and look it up, Beagle Freedom Project, or just go online and Google it. Shannon, tell us about these big dogs that you rescued from labs.
These amazing, adorable dogs, these huge dogs, these pound seizure dogs were rescued in October by our Beagle Freedom Project. As you stated, unfortunately, they're the victims of pound seizure, which means that at one time they were somebody's beloved companion animal. They ended up lost, they ended up abandoned, they ended up at the local pound where they were then sold to research. Horrific things were done to them. Luckily, we were able to get them out, but we were only able to get 6 out. This happens nationwide, and hundreds upon hundreds of more are actually seized, and these things are done to them. What we want to let people know is to make sure, please, microchip your dogs. Make sure that they're wearing collars and tags. You know, to end up in the shelter, they're not sold to research.
Yeah, microchip your dogs. Little Foxy here is microchipped. And so, God forbid, on some 4th of July fireworks, she runs away and she ends up at a shelter that the worst, I can't even imagine. It's unthinkable to me. I can't even imagine. And I'm sure most of you at home, the idea that your precious dog would end up in a research lab being experimented on is beyond comprehension. Now, let me tell you something. It's not just dogs. Last month, the Beagle Freedom Project rescued 3 pigs from a laboratory. I want you to take a look at these animals. They are so intelligent. You know, pigs are smarter than dogs, and they were being sprayed with toxic chemicals. Their skin was horribly irritated. Their skin was burned. They suffered painful wounds. And thanks to Beagle Freedom Project, they were rescued, and now they're recuperating. Guess what? This isn't saving lives. This is all in the name of beauty products. How are these pigs doing, Shannon?
They are doing amazingly well. As you said, they are so smart. They're smarter than dogs. They're so adorable. I had never been around pigs myself. When I was around them, I overwhelmed by how smart they are. And it is so sad they're being used for cosmetic procedures that are not needed by anybody. The research industry claims that their skin is like human skin, and that's why they use them for all kinds of things, you know, things that we hear of day in and day out that people do to their faces and bodies. It is not necessary, and it needs to stop.
Yeah, and there's an easy way. Before you buy any beauty product, make sure it has a little tag that says it's a little rabbit, and that means that it's not experimented on. And what I do is I go to the health food store to buy all of my products, because this is happening also, these experiments for household cleaners. Imagine an oven cleaner being tested on your precious pet. That's one of about half a dozen dogs who used to be somebody's pets, rescued by Beagle Freedom Project. Beagle Freedom Project goes into laboratories and they get these animals out. and they save lives. So how can you help save dogs and other animals who are being experimented on in laboratories all across the country? The Beagle Freedom Project has drafted a bill that would legally force all tax-funded research institutions to give their dogs to nonprofit organizations when their experiments are over. Right now, once animals are considered, quote, spent, they are usually killed. So if you've got a pet at home, if you love animals at all, support this bill. Get involved in animal rescue. These animals cannot speak for themselves. Go to beaglefreedomproject.org. Or you can go to my Facebook, Jane Velez-Mitchell Facebook, or my webpage, hlntv.com/Jane, and we've got all the information. Because imagine you've got a little foxy at home. Can you imagine if your precious dog ended up in a laboratory having electrodes put in her brain, cut open and sliced open? It's Shannon, what? People don't know. They don't think about laboratories. They think, oh, well, it's life-changing research. We're saving lives. Usually it's not.
Exactly. The majority of research is done simply in the name of vanity and scientific curiosity. So, you know, your makeup that you purchase was most likely tested on animals, which is why it's so important when you use your consumer dollar, you are making a statement. Look for products that are not tested on animals. There are so many of them. The more you do it, the more message you're sending to companies that test on animals to get them to stop. Same thing with our legislation. Hop on board. Hop on board. Make a statement.
Cruelty-free. Let's get involved. They can't speak for themselves.